Hey, I think a lot of you out there are already aware that I live very close to Portland, Oregon. I live right across the river from them practically. Also, I think a lot of you are probably aware that Antifa has their strongest and largest foothold in the Pacific Northwest here. So we in the Pacific Northwest get to deal with the worst of Antifa, and we're actually dealing with them right now because they are holding little riots in downtown Portland right now. And I wanted to make a video today to go over something that happened the other night. I'm going to show you the video here in a second. It's less than 2 minutes, and I think it encapsulates what Antifa is all about and what they're like. Now, I know everyone out there has their own opinions of what Antifa is like, that they're big and bad and scary and all this other stuff, because you hear from some channels that they're basically a communist army with AKs and tanks and everything else that can roll in and take over part of a city if they want to. And that's been something you've been fed for a while. But in reality, they're just a bunch of little pussies, and they're a bunch of little worthless assholes. They're just rats scurrying around the edges of society. Now, I know they try to say, oh, we're anti-fascist and we're anti-capitalism. Well, which is it? Are you anti-fascist or are you anti-capitalism? Because if you're anti-capitalism, you're probably communist, and how can you be communist and anti-fascism? Doesn't make any sense to me. And who that are anti-fascist goes out in the streets and tries to spread their message through terror? But that's beside the point. But the whole point is, can they spread terror? Is anyone really afraid of them? And I know people are, but should you be? Should you be afraid of Antifa? No. Antifa is just the more recent boogeyman of the right wing. You know how the left wing has the Nazis and the KKK and the white supremacists and all this other stuff. They're supposedly this huge, scary presence in our country. No, they're not. And the right has, Antifa and BLM, be scared. Because, you know, they want to maintain fear. They want to maintain division, especially in the gun community, because it sells products. You know, when Trump won, they stopped selling as many products, so people weren't scared anymore. So they had to gin up the fear to pump up sales. So I want to show this video real quick and show people what Antifa is really like. Because like I said, I think this short video completely encapsulates them in a nutshell here. So I want to watch this video here, and then I want to talk afterwards about what we learned from it. And before we watch it, though, I want to go over a couple of things. I want to go over the tactics. That's not what I want to discuss here. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, he should have driven away, or, oh, if he's armed and he escalated that, he's taking a big risk, or they could have all jumped him and blah, blah, blah. Don't want to talk about woulda, couldas, shouldas, or anything like that. I don't believe he was armed. He has a bow and arrow in the car, so I doubt he would have that if he actually had a firearm. So I don't want to talk about that stuff. That stuff's irrelevant. I just want to talk about what actually happened. If y'all want to debate tactics or what should have happened or what could have happened, I mean, make a video about that. That'd be fine. But right now, I just want to talk about the lessons learned from this video and how people behaved. Also, I know a lot of people are saying, hey, this guy was sleeping in his car down in the protest area. He's actually a protester. Well, that doesn't matter either. I don't care about motivations or reasons people are there or anything like that. I want to deal with what happens. In the video, you'll see he's sleeping in his car, basically. Someone comes over from the crowd and opens his car door, and then shit happens. So I don't want to talk about whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. I don't want to talk about whether he did the right thing or what could have happened because he did the wrong thing. I just want to illustrate what happened and what we can learn from those things that happened. So let's go ahead and watch the video here, and then we'll talk about it right afterwards.
That's on video! And on video, buddy! What was that? What was that? He's got arrows in the back of his car. Hey, he's got a bag of bullets. He's got arrows in his car. Hey, we need a bunch of people down here now. Bow and arrow! He's got bow and arrows in his trunk slamming to the ground.
We're right next to the Justice Center. This is not good. Let's take a picture of his.
Is that somebody's phone there? Hold up. Yeah, somebody dropped their phone. I just want to say that on stream. I have somebody's phone right now.
Okay, so if someone dropped their phone and lost it...
Did anybody drop their phone over here? Did you see anybody drop their phone?
No, I dropped it from there, no.
I gotta...
You should go.
Is there a lost and found?
Just run over that way. Just yell as loud as you can.
Okay, as you can see, pretty clear-cut video. Now, like I said, I know a lot of you are going to be saying things like, well, he shouldn't have been there, or at least if he's going to sleep in his car, lock his doors. I don't want to deal with any of that, like I said. I want to just deal with what happened. What happened is one member of the crowd of this little Antifa group, and I'm not saying they're super little, there's like 20 of them, or maybe 12. But one of them goes over and opens the door, I guess to say, what are you doing here, buddy? And this guy gets out, executes a leg sweep, takes him to the ground. And then just gets on him and just starts berating. Doesn't start punching him or nothing. Just starts telling him, don't ever fucking open my car door. Don't do this. Don't touch my car. Blah, blah, blah. This kind of stuff. Trying to teach him a lesson. And I want you to pay attention real quick to how quickly that guy went from a big bad protester, big bad Antifa guy opening a car door to, I wasn't trying to do nothing. I wasn't trying to do nothing. That's one thing I want you to pay attention to. These are just kids. They are stupid, cowardly, pussy kids. No reason to be afraid of them, except for when they're in big packs. But this one was in a big pack, and what happened to the rest of the pack as soon as there were actually any ramifications of their actions? You know, as soon as there was a consequence, what did the other ones do? Well, they didn't pile on the guy that took him to the ground. They fucking ran like rats. They took off. A few of them stayed at a close distance. One of them even threw his drink at them, but they didn't get involved because they were fucking terrified because they're like, oh, there might be a consequence here. So they were a bunch of pussies. This one guy who was unarmed terrified, a dozen Antifa members. And then you notice how their tone changed quickly while this was going on. They're like, then why are you here? Why are you here? Go away. Because they're like, oh, now it's like, oh, we're victims. Go away. This is who they are. They're not some organized communist army. This is what they are. They're a bunch of little fucking rats. And if you notice at the end of the video, they kind of give away what kind of people they are to begin with, because after the melee and the guy gets back in his car and puts his earphones in, like tries to go back to sleep, totally unconcerned about the Antifa people, they start going from, oh, get a picture of his license plate. Get a picture of his license plate. He's got a bow and arrow. Oh my God, we need people over here. One of them is screaming. The guy that got knocked to the ground suddenly becomes brave again once the guy gets the car. He's like, we need a lot of people over here. But the people don't come. Like, no way, that guy knocked you down. I'm staying away. So they're cowards. There's the first message. And then, like I said, at the end, you get to see, like, who are these people really? Because at the end, it's not, fuck this guy, let's get him, blah, blah, blah. It's like, did somebody drop their phone? I've got somebody's phone. Is there a lost and found? Someone actually asked, is there a fucking lost and found? At our militant protest, is there a lost and found? It's just fucking sad. It's silly. And to be afraid of this group or to allow any group to use this as a boogeyman to frighten us and divide us, aren't we a bunch of grown men who believe in self-reliance and we're armed? Why would we be afraid of these kids? Look what happens when one of them gets knocked down. What's going to start happening if more people actually defend themselves in a more, permanent way? What if instead of someone getting out and knocking your ass on the ground, you open someone's car door and it's like a little old lady that can't physically fight with you, or someone who's disabled and can't fight with you, and they just blow their fucking head off? What do you think those little Antifa rats are going to do then? First, they're going to piss themselves, then they're going to puke, and then they're going to run away and hide. And I don't know if they'll ever come back to another protest. I guarantee if they see two of their friends get their heads blown off, they'll probably never protest again. So a lot of lessons to learn from this video. And I'm not talking about the tactical stuff that you should learn not to do or whatever. I'm just talking about, one, Antifa ain't scary. They're cowards. They're children. They're immature. There's nothing frightening about them. They're just pathetic. They're just angry and looking to rebel against something. They don't even understand what they're rebelling against. And they're definitely not something to be afraid of, because as soon as there's any consequences to their actions, they're fucking gone. So even if you find yourself in a crowd of them, if you've got the means on your hip to put one of them down permanently, the others are going to run away. So I wouldn't be worried about them at all. Like I said, we are grown men who believe in being prepared. I think most of us have been in the shit once or twice. Well, not most of us, but a lot of us. And I'm not talking military or anything like that specifically. I'm just talking about in life. I mean, we've been in some rough situations. You don't live to be my age without being in some rough situations, especially if you're from poor coal mine town, West Virginia. We're bigger than them. We're smarter than them. We're stronger than them. We're more prepared than them. We're more dedicated than them. Why are we afraid of them? And you might ask yourself, why are these other channels pumping them up to be something to be so afraid of? Could it be that it's good for their discount codes and it's good for their Amazon store and it's good when our community walls itself off and doesn't reach out to other people because then they stay scared? We don't risk another Trump slump where sales went down so low. They can't have that happen again. So ask yourself, is Antifa something I should be afraid of? Fuck no. Is it something I should be aware of? Yeah, be aware. And be prepared. That's another lesson. Be prepared. Be aware and be prepared. Afraid? No. Aware and prepared. And are these other channels right when they portray the things they portray? Like when they were portraying that Seattle was taken over by a communist army, and some people were to the point where they were like, I actually had another channel in my chapter, and I was like, they had me to the point where I was okay with the government dropping napalm on American soil because of the things they were saying. He said, then I find out none of it was true. He actually started contacting people who lived here and lived in the area, and nothing that what they were saying was actual reality. He was like, these people manipulated me, someone who believes in freedom, to acting in a very statist way. That the government should go in there and napalm it. That's against the core beliefs of most of us that believe in freedom. And it's happening because we're allowing ourselves to be frightened by these people who just want to sell product. Don't do that. If you want to buy their product, buy their product. And if they try to sell it to you by scaring you, tell them, oh, now I'm not going to buy your product. Maybe if you just told me how many lumens that light has, I would have bought it. But if you try to tell me I'm going to need it because I'm going to be trapped in an alley somewhere while Antifa's marching down on me and I'm going to signal for help, I ain't going to buy it. That tactic isn't needed, and it damages the gun community. So like I said today, lessons learned. Antifa ain't scary. We're better than them. We're more prepared than them. We can take them if we had to, but we're not going to have to. They will all grow up, fade away, become irrelevant, just like every other group before them has, and we're not afraid of them. And those of you that are afraid of them, start asking yourself, why am I?